and look forward to 2023 and what God has in store for us. Happy listening. The environment and you.
If you're a child, they grow, water can go use. If water kill your child, now water you go use. To me back mama oh me no do malo. Go someone to the shake, oh malo me oh. Nothing without water. Go someone to the shake, oh malo me oh. Oh me you water. Water. You don't get any. Oh me you water. Water. You don't get any. If you fight unless you don't get any. I say water no get any. Water. You don't get any. If you fight unless you won't die. You don't get any. Oh me you water. Water. You don't get any. And they talk of black man power. Water.
Yes. Today's program will be looking and recapping all that we've done throughout the year and the issues presented. Everywhere it's cold right now. The harmattan, haze and wind, dust storms are across the country. In other colder climes, like in the United States and Canada and other parts of the West, there's snow and a lot is happening. Cancellation of flights, issues of the result COVID-19, which is also seen to be environmental in nature because of the cold. China is having a bite of it, and a lot is happening. Countries are beginning to look at Chinese travelers and asking questions. A lot is going on, and a lot has gone on in the last 1 year. Well, the issue of global warming has always been in the front burner since the early 80s, when it was first brought forth by environmentalists and scientists and those talking about biodiversity and biosecurity. And that has remained. It has not changed. There is the issue of warming, ozone depletion, and other issues of toxicity, and all of that has always been in the front burner. There's a lot of people talking about it, and then it came on to the levels of policy and governance, and that a lot needs to be done. People have to be carried along to understand the need for us to have a consensus worldwide as to emissions, the issues of global warming, the issues of policy, adaptation, and then who gets what, when, and how, and those that need to pay back to the system for the abuse over time. Now, the issues of poor governance has been not only the issue brought forth in Nigeria environment, but it is also those things brought forward in other developed and developing countries, because not enough is being done to capture the issues, and most countries are shying away from the facts, the raw facts. The global highest emitters still are United States, China, Russia, and the developed West. And so we have them as the major culprits, yet they are the ones that are also shying away from doing the needful where it comes to the issues of adaptation, plowing back to countries that are bearing the brunt of the global warming, like as we have in Africa and in other parts of the South, where persons are day-to-day aching a living and surviving, and most of the rivers drying up, most of the water courses being polluted, most of the fauna and fauna have a lot of diversity and change in the way it presents, and a lot of issues with forestation, deforestation all over. Now, the issue of policy, poor governance has been at the front burner. It's not a new thing. It's been talked about in the last 35 to 40 years. Now, that itself is a huge problem. Also, the issues that presented in the last 1 year is the issue of food waste, which is also an environmental issue. Why some parts of the world were having famine because of global warming, poor rains, and failing in agriculture. Others were having so much, but having to destroy. Now, a lot of issues come forward. The area is that why would they destroy food, especially when it's processed? And then the argument is that if you take out those foods to certain places where it seemed to be needed, what if it becomes poisonous in those areas? And people will sue those countries or sue those companies or sue those governments for having poisoned their population and populace. Now, so there's a moral issue there. But others are saying food waste, especially in the case of US and other developed countries like France, that are dumping it in the waters of the Pacific and at times in the Atlantic and Indian Ocean. Why don't they give it to poorer countries that need it? We have issues in Eritrea because of fighting in Somalia, in Mali. We have issues around the Horn of Africa. We have issues across in other places, Nepal, Bangladesh, and other places also, because of flooding, have lost a lot of food. And the food security of those countries are being challenged. Why don't you send food produced already in excess from the developed West to those places? And they said, we can give them food, but they might sue us for giving them poisonous substances and what have you. Now, the arguments have been back and forth. In the case of Nigeria, a lot of rice was lost in the paddy because of flooding, a lot of corn cereals, a lot of food was lost, poultry. In places, I know a farmer somewhere in Bayelsa that had about 5,000 poultry birds being raised and all of that, and lost all of that in one full sweep within a week because of the rains and the flooding. And at the end of the day, there's nothing, no compensations, and nothing has come forth to them, even though they've been incidented and what have you. Another cycle of famine is coming up within the first month of the new year, and people should be ready again to go planting, go into animal husbandry and what have you. But there's need to know whether they are going to get something out of government or from donor agencies to assist as palliative. Then there's the issue of biodiversity loss also, which is as a result of global warming, the dumping, indiscriminate use of plastics, the resurgence of toxic chemicals in various areas, especially the lack of management of it in Nigeria. So, a lot of issues brought forward with the issue of plastic pollution and polythene. Here in this program, we have consistently stated how people have suffered over time because of the indiscriminate dumping and use of hazardous materials and plastics and polythene and polymer, and the way they've carried on. Now, the issues are so there. In certain places, all the water courses silting and a lot of things. In Abuja, the central sewage system has seemingly collapsed because plastics have bottles and what have you, polythene by nylon, as you call it, all dumped indiscriminately, have blocked the water channels. And when there's a rain, everything is on the roads. People's houses are flooded in certain areas around Masaka, Maraba, in certain areas around Kuje, Kubwa, in certain areas around Suleja. You find massive floods throughout the rain, and people have their hearts in their mouth, so to speak, once it's about to rain. Now, a lot is been happening in the last 1 year. We are putting open the phone lines, and then we'll look at those issues as we keep itemizing them. The 0903-2229-797, the MTN line is open. I take it again, 0903-2229-797. The hybrid WhatsApp line 0818-2222-205 is also open. 0818-2222-205. The Airtel line is open, 0808-2222-037. I take that again, 0808-2222. Aaron and you, Stephen Ogboli is the name. We'll come back shortly after a brief break, and then we'll take it up from there.
Nothing without water.
Yes, Citizen FM 93.7. The environment and you. My name is Stephen Ogboli. The 31st day of December 2022. Just in a few hours, the year turns, and we're hoping for better and the best. Yes, the issue of deforestation has also been a very clear and present danger. It is said that a size of 30 football fields is lost daily, hourly, globally, to deforestation, and people are now replanting these trees. Some of these trees have been there for millennia, and people are felling the trees. In Nigeria, one of the governors, I believe in Cross River and another, was warned that the way Chinese have entered the bushes, especially in Osun State also, not only in the issue of deforestation because of felling of trees, but like in Osun, the issues are the issue of illegal mining, and well, the others that are also approved mining, but these people are using harmful practices that are outmoded and obsolete in their mining systems and culture. And because they are using obsolete systems, they are silting the water courses, polluting it. The waters are not drinkable. Around Ishayin, around Oshogbo, around various areas where people are mining gold in Osun State. Now people cannot farm. They have pillaged, destroyed, caused deforestation, and they've caused the erosion of the fauna, and people are no longer able to farm cassava, to farm yam, cocoa yam, to farm rice and corn and guinea corn and other staples. People are no longer able to do that. Those that are farming cocoa, the cocoa plantations have been taken over. Cumulatively in Osun State, over 50 kilometers square has been lost to illegal mining and to mining activities in the last 30 years. Sadly, there is nothing to show for it. The people are poorer. The Chinese companies and other companies that are there, but basically Chinese, have been extracting, ripping, and removing. I will use the word rape. The land have been removing things from it and not putting back. There is no agreement, no content management agreement for them to build or beneficiations of the land after use. They said they would do reclamation. They said they would sand fill. They said they will build schools, cottage hospitals, and water, pipe-borne water by mechanical hand boreholes and what have you. Nothing seems to have worked. Nothing seems to have been done in those places. Very sad. If you go to some of those rural communities in Osun State where gold, and I mean raw gold, is being taken out. This gold are coming out at millions of dollars to the West, yet the state remains poor. This is very saddening. And if you ask the question, the state say it's not their fault, that everything in it is in the exclusive list, and it is the federal government that owns and has mining rights and all of that. But a funny one happened in Zamfara, where the governor said then and stood by his word that it belongs to Zamfara State and not to the federal government. And in fact, they started talking about going to beg or ask him who he actually owns and what his position is in it. And he stood his ground and said that this belongs to his state. However, I don't think the Zamfara people have benefited from the mining that is going there. All they saw was lead poisoning. And that in itself is a tall tale to the issues of policy, to the issue of governance and corporate governance and the management of our resources by those who are in charge. Now, in Osun State and in other states across, Plateau is not left out. In Nasarawa here is not left out. In the FCT is not left out. There's coal in the FCT. People are mining precious metals in Kaduna and southern Kaduna. People are mining and taking granite across the length and breadth of the FCT. What addition? What are they paying? What taxes? Who are collecting? Where is it? If actually we have some of the best granite in the world, how come we are not seeing value addition to any of the rural communities where these things are placed? I know these are questions that need and beg for answers. Now, there's issue of also air pollution coming from the attempted industrialization or use of toxic chemicals for industrial purposes, the air quality, air pollution, and what have you, across the country. Now, none of these communities are boasting that they are enjoying it. What you find is that the air quality and the pollution is going on. The World Health Organization has set out alarm bells across and told countries and nations about the issues of adaptation and the precise level that is needed in countries. And in Nigeria, we're not left out. But here we are, down the line in this year 2022, it continues in places around Lagos, Port Harcourt, even in the FCT here. You're beginning to find that the air quality is no longer as it's supposed to be. Now, a lot needs to be done. Emission control, the issue of carbon sink, the issue of reduction in gaseous emissions as in the Niger Delta and the oil companies and what have you. Now that there is oil in Gombe Bauchi and things are looking up, if in the next 5-6 years it will become commercially viable, by then production would have started. But between now and then, a lot of chemicals are being used, a lot of prospecting is being done. Who and where, how are they looking after the people, the rural communities, the farming communities, and what will happen down the line? Let it all be a repeat of what happened in the Niger Delta. So there's a lot of work to be done by policymakers, by those who are in charge of the communal wealth belonging to Nigeria and Nigerians. Now, that in itself is a major issue. And then there's also the issue of water acidification coming because of the chemical use and harmful use of harmful chemicals. Now, a lot of ailments, sicknesses bursting out here and there, issues of cancerous, tumorous growths, and people are having some ill health which is caused by chemical deposits in the water. There's an issue that in certain community, people are beginning to have issues of birth deficiency, issues of deformed births because of sickness, some things that are happening to the water is not coming out so good, and it is now affecting women who are getting pregnant. And a lot needs to be done, a lot of monitoring, a lot of management, and a lot of superintendent of all these companies and persons that are into mining, into aquaculture, what they feed the fish, what is happening. So it's a potpourri of it. In the last 1 year, the Federal Ministry of Environment, in its bid, has continually tried workshops, over 10 in various areas and aspects, have come up over the last 1 year. And in all of that, even the Environmental Management and Disaster Risk Reduction Institute, in its own bid, also held 3 workshops over the last 12 months to sensitize, to educate, and to create awareness in various aspects of environmental management, health, security, and safety. Now, the issue of agriculture, very, very touching. The use of harmful chemicals and pesticides, the use of bio-engineered seeds and what have you for agriculture. There are some chemicals that are not properly monitored coming into the country, where they've been outlawed or banned in other countries. They find their way to Nigeria. People are using those harmful chemicals in their farm and to accelerate production and increase yield. Well, why that is seemingly okay at the surface, a lot of work and monitoring needs to be done by the Biosafety Agency of Nigeria, and then Federal Ministry of Agriculture, and all the other ministries that are interwoven and involved, Federal Ministry of Water Resources. There's a lot of work that is supposed to be done. The issue of food and water security. Water insecurity is so rampant now. Of the 200 and plus million Nigerians, only 40 million have potable, drinkable water. The others are relying on rain-fed systems, on cisterns, others on streams and water courses, and then others are relying on manual systems of water procurement. Why this is not very palatable, there is room and need to better the water management systems of urban centers and communities across the length and breadth of Nigeria. This has also led to the issue of open defecation, and which is so harmful to Nigerians across the length and breadth of the country. Nigeria was said to be the second highest open defecation country in the world. Poor sanitary facility, poor sanitary condition, poor water facility, because there is a concomitant effect. If you look at water facility and then you look at the issue of defecation, for you to have a proper sanitary condition, you must have water to go with it. Where it is not available, people take into the bushes to go and take over the areas and places. I have a friend somewhere in Abuja here that almost abandoned his farm this farming year because the human waste dumped on him on a daily average was so much that he could not access his farm again. And his farm happens to be about 100 meters from a major road, behind a market. And unfortunately, he had to almost abandon the farm. And at the end of the day, those same persons who made it so very unbearable because of human waste for him to go into the farms also made it their duty to harvest the little that was in that farm. Now, it looks very simplistic at the surface, but then if you go deeper into the issue, it is all because the persons had no viable alternative to use of facilities for defecation. Where those facilities are available in hospitals, in markets, in motor parks, and some other areas, they have been commercialized. And the commercialization does not take into cognizance the financial standing of the average Nigerian. You find they say 100 naira to go in, 50 naira to go in, and all of that. There is nothing down the line of 20 or 10 naira. Now, a lot goes into that, and many persons do not have the available 50 naira. Even when they do, they ask the question, why should they spend 50 naira and all of that? And therefore, the next option is into the bushes. This is a place where we have to look inwards. We must look inwards. There is need for us as a country to come out of this number of second highest open defecation country in the face of the planet Earth. It's not a very good place to be. A lot of water and sanitation, health and sanitation issues need to be brought to the fore. The Federal Ministry of Environment needs to rise up to this challenge. The Federal Ministry of Water Resources in tandem and Federal Ministry of Agriculture in tandem need to come put heads together, and Federal Ministry of Health, and look into these issues, because these are cross-cutting issues that affect and cross-cut into each other's territory. While it is domiciled with Federal Ministry of Environment, this is an issue of health. And where we have an outbreak of cholera, it becomes an issue of Federal Ministry of Health. Therefore, there is need for a synergy between major stakeholders. We take a little break and we'll come back. My name is Stephen Ogboli, and remember, the phone lines are open. Happy 31st December as we wait for the new year. Good afternoon.
If you want to go wash, now what are you going to use? If you want to cook soup, now what are you going to use? If your head is hot, now what are you cool on? If your child they grow, what are you going to use? If water kill your child, now what are you going to use? No. Told me back, mama, oh, me not no malo. Go someone to the shake, oh, malo me, oh, nothing without water. Go someone to the shake, oh, malo me, oh, me, you know, water. You don't get any. Oh, me, you know.
Yes, water not get enemy. If you fight them, except you won't die. The environment and you, the 31st day of December 2022. And the issues has been discussed. Also the issue of toxins being dumped into the water courses and what have you, and all of that. We'll take a short break for call to prayer and then go from there.
Abuja. Wake up. Reach out. Speak up. Speak out. You are the voice of a new generation. And this is your station. Talk Radio 93.7 Citizen FM.
This call to prayer is sponsored by the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Yes, we're back on the environment and you after the call to prayer. As we were saying earlier on, the issues presented in 2022 have been a mixed bag of issues on adaptation, climate change, global warming, the issues of fossil fuel emission and toxicity control, and then the issues of adaptation plans that have not been put into place, the failures in policy, and the global north not looking passionately at the global south. Why they are the highest emitters and we are feeling and bearing the brunt of their emission, not enough is being done to carry us along or compensate or give palliatives to countries that are affected in the global south. These are issues presented over the last year at COP27. The issues have been so brought forward and they were called loss and damage at the last day of COP27 at Sharm el-Sheikh, Cairo, Egypt. Some people have argued that at Glasgow, the year before, 2021, it was better, that at Glasgow there was a lot achieved. But at Sharm el-Sheikh, agendas had been set before the program and people only came to talk shop. Not enough was done. Well, it depends on how one looks at it. But and so little has been done. However, a lot of achievement in the area of awareness, at least countries and peoples have become more aware of what is required and what should be done. In the case of Nigeria, there's a time that Nigeria should stand firm and begin to ask questions of those countries and those persons that have emitted or helped to emit into our ozone layer and deplete our natural resources in the areas of overfishing, using of deep sea trawlers in the waters of Nigeria, and other issues that are anti-Nigerian, smuggling of crude and all of that, and the pollution concomitant effect of degradation that comes from oil spill and pollution, and then all those other issues to be brought forth. Nigeria has a right to ask questions and to ask those countries that have allowed their nationals, like the issue of a ship that came in that was caught, to remove oil and all of that. Because they are not following the right protocols and procedure, a lot of spill is allowed, happens. Because also most of the oil wells are fractured, punctured, a lot of spill happens. Now, there is supposed to be loss and damage. There's supposed to be payments for damage costs and cleanup by those companies. It is not being done. I earlier spoke about those that are mining gold across 4 or 5 states of Nigeria. There's gold in Birnin Gwari. It has become the account why there is insurgency there. There's gold in Zamfara. It has become the reason why there's insurgency there. There is gold in Oshun. That is one of the reasons why there's insurgency. There's issues. These are environmental issues. These are things that need a synergy between the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Development and the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Water Resources and the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Health. Looking at these things and coming up with a program, an adaptation principle, and standing by it and enforcing and making sure that those culprits or those persons that have breached the protocol or have not followed due process do the needful. They either pay for it or they cease to operate. A lot of issues are there. We hope that at the area of policy in the year 2023, Nigeria will stand firm and do better. That in the area of policy, that it will not only be talk, it will be also followed by action. There is a need for policy makers, for policy implementers, and for government itself to rise up to the occasion and remember that government is a continuum and do not play politics with the lives of Nigerians, and stand firm that the oil companies who come in to do prospecting and mining in tandem with the NNPC have gas components so that harmful chemicals are not released into the atmosphere. Even when doing exploration and doing mining issues for gold, diamond, and precious metals, that the right chemicals and non-harmful chemicals are not allowed to be used by them. Then there's the issue of biosecurity in the area of agriculture, and it snowballs into the environment when people are using some chemically enhanced fertilizer, chemically enhanced bioseeds and what have you, that are not so good for human consumption, however, that grow rapidly. People are thinking about how to farm and have corn within 11 weeks, how to have food within 3 months, as against some plants that go for 4 or 5 months. And when that is happening and when there's that enhanced hybrid coming into being, there's a lot of chemical in use. Some are not that wholesome, some are not as beneficial to man, as it were. There is also therefore need for all the agencies of the federal environment, NESRIA, NOSDRA, National Biosafety Agency, and all of them to be out there doing the job it's intended to do, superintending, working with all key stakeholders and key sector actors, doing the needful, and putting pen to paper whenever there is an issue and reporting these issues to the appropriate authority for action to be taken. We are also aware that the National Assembly has not relented, is very ready to make legislations and to also have oversight functions in this area. In the year 2023, we hope that better and best will come out of the National Assembly and a lot of development. We are seeing the Ecology and Climate Change and the Environment Committee, both in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, working in tandem, coming up with positions that are modified and suitable for Nigeria. We hope that all key stakeholders and key sector actors will begin to do the needful and help out everyone for everyone for each other, not everyone to himself. That should be the way Nigeria should go in the year 2023. All of us being each other's keeper, a brother's keeper, all of us looking out for the country, our nation, looking out for our states, looking out for our local governments, looking out for our basic communities, and doing the needful in the area of environment. The dumping of harmful waste, the dumping of chemicals, the dumping of plastics, the non-biodegradable materials and what have you, the issues of overfishing using chemical gasoline and bombs and small bombs in river courses to farm fish and to harvest fish. Whatever things that are not right, whatever things that are not good, should be very far from our system. A lot of monitoring needs to be done. The Nigerian police, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense, the other agencies involved in those areas, biosafety agency and all, should stand up and do the needful so that we can have a healthier, safer, and better environment in the year 2023. As I sign out, my name is Stephen Ogboli, the Environment and Youth Citizen FM 93.7, 4th floor, Labour House, CBD, Abuja. I wish you all a wonderful, joyous 2023 and enjoy the remaining part of this year as we wind up the year in the next 12 hours. Have a wonderful time. Good afternoon. .7 Citizen FM.
Let's talk about it on our favorite radio station.
We're more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
This is 93.7 Citizen FM. Abuja.
Abuja. Wake up. Reach out. Speak up. Speak out. You are the voice of a new generation. And this is your station. Talk Radio 93.7.
issues.
Everybody respected that because it was coming from the president.
Theory behind it, the way the people took the battle in their hands.
Some civil servant retire without a roof over his age.
The cause.
If we cannot trust you, then you cannot take the ticket of this country. Good thing cannot be divulged from those who cause the crime. Honestly.
The passion.
You must have national spread. So where is it?
Why are you so concerned about that? He said money was.
I never.
No.
The platform is always the same.
Insight on Citizen FM 93.7.
The source is constant.
My name is Lawrence Umoite.
There is always an opportunity.
Tomorrow, Insight returns with another interesting.
Insight with Lawrence Umoite on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. Be part of the experience.
We teach girls shame. Close your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they're already guilty of something.
So I think right now we have the chance to be heard, and that's why we're doing it. We're all doing it because we're asking to try and elicit change.
No woman should sit down and allow a man to speak about her reproductive rights.
But it is about opening spaces for other women and not to be seen as token, and that because I'm a woman, I'm only speaking about women at the table. No, I'm speaking about side of the table that is empty, and that women have to be there. So
I want us to leave this world better than we found it. And how I choose to affect change is by speaking up, by being the first, and by being the dominant.
Over 4 billion of the world's population are girls and women, also faced with challenges that affect our world and contributing solutions to them. Let's have conversations and get some answers to them through their eyes and voices. Tune in to Perspectives, where we discuss important issues ranging from climate change, politics, health, the economy, and lifestyle on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Weekdays from midday. Perspectives. Conversations that matter.
ụmụnnem na ụmụnnam oge ndị Igbo na-abịaziri unu ụbọchị Satọde na ụbọchị Sọnde na weta aka n'elekere nke 4. Oge ndị Igbo bụ oge anyị ji anọrị, oge gị na-ekene ezepụ na-eji akpọrịkọta ụbụbọ kabarụ na-esonyela anyị. Nke a bụ nke anyị. Ụmụnnem, daalụnụ.
It has just begun.
Check it out.
Please scan your dial. Now.
You found it.
You found it. Citizen 93.7 FM. We are the best. The best.
To 93.7 Citizen FM. Based in Nigeria's capital.
Your #1 radio station.
Let's go.